Hey, Mr. Hahn coming to you here live from Cross Lutheran School. We are going to do a little more work with fractions today, so if you would take out your notes under fractions, we are going to do something special today, and it is called dividing by fractions. So here we go. Let's write this up here. Fractions. And we are the little subheading, dividing by them. Now, before we get too crazy with this, let's take a look at some simple problems here. Let's say I have 1 divided by 1/4. Okay, things get a little crazy here, but if we think a little bit about money, this isn't so bad. And remember what I'm asking, when we divide, we're asking how many we can take out of, how many groups or how many of these can I get out of one. So if you had $1, you had a dollar bill, $1, and I asked you how many quarters you can get out of a dollar, you know, those little quarters, you would tell me there are 4 quarters in a dollar. So the answer to that is 4, which is kind of goofy because usually when we divide, we get a smaller number, but when you divide by fractions, you actually get a bigger number. And it is also a little confusing. If you want to go home and test your parents on their mathematical knowledge, I am relatively sure that pretty much all of them will get this question wrong, even though it's an easy question. If you ask them, what is 10 divided by 1/2? 10 divided by 1/2, they will probably tell you 5, and maybe you're thinking 5 too, but notice I didn't say what's half of 10. Half of 10 is 5, but I said what is 10 divided by 1/2? What I'm asking you is how many halves, if you have 10 circles, how many halves can I get out of 10 circles? The answer to that is, if you count, there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. 10 divided by 1/2 is actually 20. Half of 10 is 5, but 10 divided by 1/2 is 20. So test your parents on that and see if they get that right. Let's look at a couple more examples. You know, what if I had 2 divided by 1/4? Okay, well, same thing is true. 2 circles, cut them into quarters. How many quarters do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 8 quarters. Or what about a dime is 1/10 of a dollar? What if I said I had $3 and I wanted to know how many dimes, which is 1/10 of a dollar, there would be? Well, if you had 3 and you cut them all into 10 equal pieces, maybe you can see your answer would be 30. Now that all works out well and good, but what if, children, what if we had a fraction divided by a fraction? Now let's work an easy one here. What if I have 3/4 divided by 1/4? And I asked you, how many quarters can you take out of 3/4? Well, let's sketch the picture here. I am cutting my circle into quarters, and I have 3 of them. Let me do a little erasing here. Here's my 3/4. How many quarters can I take out of 3/4? Well, here's 1/4, there's 2/4, there's 3/4. So the answer is 3. There are 3 1/4 in 3/4. Now, you don't always want to have to draw pictures because it gets real confusing, because if I changed it up a little bit on you and I said, what is 3/4 divided by 1/3? And I asked you how many 1/3 you can get out of this 3/4, it gets really, really, really confusing. So there is an easier way that we have, and this is what I need you to write down in ginormous words here. And it would be this: to divide by a fraction comma, you multiply by its reciprocal, exclamation point. Now, it's been a while since we've talked about reciprocals, and I'm pretty sure we have. If we haven't, a little reminder of this is the reciprocal of something is just the fraction flipped over. In other words, let's go back to this 2 divided by 1/4. Rather than drawing all these pictures that we've been doing here, we can simply do this. We write the number 2 down. It's this the second part that changes, never the first part. To divide by a fraction, I flip it over and turn it into a multiplication problem. So 2 divided by 1/4 is the exact same as 2 times 4/1. And 2, we can make them both fractions. 2 times 4/1 is 8/1, or just 8, which is what we got. Or that problem when I said 10 divided by 1/2, well, that's the same thing as 10 times 2/1. And if you do that, there's where the 20 comes from. Or if you go back and we do the 3/4 divided by 1/4, to divide by a fraction, always the second fraction, we flip and multiply. So it's 3/4 times 4/1, in which case you get 12/4, which was 3, which I'm pretty sure is what we got here. Yep, 3/4 divided by 4 is 3. Now the one we couldn't do was this one. So let's actually go and do that. What is 3/4 divided by 1/3? Oh, I'm so excited I can. All right, how do we do that? We flip and multiply. So it's 3/4 times 3/1. And remember, when we multiply fractions, we multiply across. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 1 is 4. 9/4 is my answer, but I need to make that into a mixed number. 4 goes into that 2 whole times with 1 left over. So my answer is 2 1/4. 2 1/4. So 5th graders, welcome to the wonderful world of division by fractions. It's pretty simple. The biggest mistake most people do is they flip the wrong fraction. So when we're correcting, if you get the exact opposite answer I give you, instead of 8, you get 1/8, you're flipping the wrong fraction. So hopefully it doesn't happen. See you in class. Have a great, great, great day.